Imagine standing at the edge of a frozen plain. The air is cold, the wind is slow, and then you see it. A giant rises from the mist, not a monster, not a myth, but an animal so magnificent that its own beauty would eventually destroy it. This is the story of the Irish elk, an animal that did nothing wrong and still disappeared forever. Despite its name, the Irish elk was not truly Irish, and it wasn't an elk either. Its real name is Megaloceros giganteus, the giant deer. It lived across Europe and Asia during the last Ice Age, from Ireland to Siberia, and it was the largest deer species that ever walked the earth. At the shoulder, it stood over 2 meters tall. Its body could weigh more than 600 kilograms. But what made it unforgettable were its antlers. The antlers of the Irish elk were enormous, up to 4 meters from tip to tip, wider than a small car, heavier than anything worn by a land animal today. They were not designed primarily for fighting predators. They were not tools of survival. They were signals, a message written in bone. Look at me. Look how strong I am. Look how good my genes must be. In the world of evolution, beauty matters, and the Irish elk was winning that game. The reason those antlers became so large was sexual selection. Females preferred males with bigger antlers, and generation after generation, those antlers grew larger and larger. There was no stopping mechanism, no warning sign. Evolution does not plan ahead. It only rewards what works right now. And right now, excess was rewarded. But antlers are not free. They are made of bone, and bone requires calcium, phosphorus, and energy. Every year, male Irish elks had to regrow the largest antlers in history. That meant draining minerals from their own skeletons. It meant fragile bones. It meant enormous nutritional stress. As long as the environment provided enough resources, they survived. But the world was about to change. At the end of the Ice Age, the open grasslands began to disappear. Forests spread across Europe, wetlands expanded, dense vegetation replaced open plains. For an animal with 4-meter-wide antlers, this was a nightmare. Movement became difficult, feeding became harder, escaping danger became slower. The very feature that once ensured reproduction was now a physical burden. As minerals became scarcer, some males could no longer grow full antlers. Malformed antlers appeared in fossil records. Thinner bones, signs of nutritional stress. This was not a sudden collapse. It was a slow unraveling. Fewer healthy males, lower reproduction, rising vulnerability. And then humans arrived. Early humans did not hunt the Irish elk with the intention of exterminating it. They hunted to survive. But from a hunter's perspective, the Irish elk was an easy target. Large, predictable, slow to maneuver. A single kill could feed a group for days. Humans were not the sole cause of extinction, but they were the final pressure on a species already struggling. There was no great disaster, no dramatic final battle. The Irish elk did not vanish overnight. It faded. One generation failed to replace the next. Calves were born weaker, antlers grew smaller, or not at all. Until one day, there were none left. Silence replaced thunder. For a long time, scientists believed the antlers alone caused the extinction, that the animal was simply too extreme. Today, we know the truth is more complex. Climate change, nutritional stress, habitat transformation, human pressure. Together, they formed a perfect storm. The Irish elk teaches us a quiet lesson. Evolution has no memory, no foresight, no mercy. What makes a species successful today can destroy it tomorrow. Bigger is not always better. Stronger is not always safer. Sometimes survival depends on restraint. The Irish elk was not a failure. It was a masterpiece of its time, perfectly adapted for a world that no longer existed. This was not a monster, not a mistake. It was a memory. And once lost, memories never come back. If you listen closely, somewhere between bone and silence, the Irish elk still walks. Not in forests, not in plains, but in the fragile memory of a world we no longer recognize. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing to the channel. It's the best way to support this project and help keep these forgotten stories alive. More videos are coming soon.